What up? Welcome back to another Malazan Book of the Fallen video. This time we're still in Darujhistan and the Empire is knocking on their door. So let's get into it. All right, Chapter 8. Cue the bridge burners. They've been dropped off right outside Darujhistan by the Moranth. They're restocked on explosives and they're essentially chunking the deuces on the Empire plan and doing it Whiskey Jack's way. Super cool to see the Moranth giving Whiskey Jack just straight up mad love and super amounts of respect. They agree to come back in 2 weeks' time, give them their kind of escape route by air, which is super cool. And the plan is essentially to break up into two teams. We don't know exactly what their plan is at the beginning, but they have two objectives that they're going to kind of pursue in tandem in Darujhistan. The one thing we do know is that whatever the plan is, they're going to blow up. While they're loading up the boat to actually get into Darujhistan, Quick Ben takes a minute to track down Hairlock. Hairlock is just increasingly losing it, becoming more and more insane. He's going through all these different warrens. He's getting exposed to a ton of power. He thinks he can harness it all and use it, especially the power of chaos, but it's just making him cuckoo. And he kind of is like freaking Quick Ben out. One of the good things he does do, though, is he fills Quick Ben in on the Hound attack that happened with Perrin and Tattersail. And you can check out my previous videos on Pale if you need to get caught up. That's like killer important information for Quick Ben to know. He obviously peppers the story with tons of lies, right? Hairlock isn't the most reliable source at this point. He talks about how Taishren wants them dead, he wants Tattersail dead, and he's going to do whatever he can to take them down, which may or may not be the case, but he's shipping that very hard to Ganos, big time. But Quick Ben's starting to see like what a liability Hairlock is becoming, and so he tells him to like continue the investigation, find the evidence on the betrayal that happened at Pale, but he's like increasingly coming up with a backup plan on how to get rid of Hairlock. Then he just straight up boots him off a cliff in the middle of the Chaos Warren and just chunks the deuces on him and bounces out. God, you love Quick Ben. From there, we actually see Lorne head out from Pale, and she links up with Onos to Ulan. He teaches her a lot of stuff. There's like a lot of different warrens, elder warrens that she didn't even know about. We also find out Tool is like the last one of his clan, right? The rest got all wiped out when they went after a group of Jagat that they were trying to take down. He's super duper old and desiccated, obviously dead body, but he's like totally alone. But we do find out that they have like these shaman called bone casters, and that's like the Talon Imas version of a mage, and they're super badass. Everybody's afraid of them. They said like the bone casters would make what happened in Pale and with Moonspawn seem like child's play, so they're gnarly. And we also find out that there's like another clan of Talon Imas that the Empire didn't know about who's now coming back into the fold. We also see Tattersail kind of hot on the trail of Lorne and Onos to Ulan. She gets intercepted en route to catch up with Lorne and take her down or get to Darujhistan and help the bridge burners, kind of whatever happens first, by Beludrin. And he comes from Taishren to basically arrest Tattersail and take her back to Pale, either to be like executed or at least to stand trial for sure. She's in trouble. But instead of kind of going along with that, she kind of tricks Beludrin into telling her what the Empire's up to and what Lorne in particular is looking for out on the outskirts of Darujhistan, that there's a Jagat tyrant that they're trying to free. And that basically seals it for her. She's like, there's no way I can go back with you. And so instead of getting arrested, she like sends off this ridiculous like fireball column of fire. She does it within proximity of Tool, who was supposed to be like deadening magic in the whole vicinity of where they were at. But she kind of sends off this ridiculous wave of fire that burns her and Beludrin to a crisp because she remembered that Nightchill, who was that dead mage from Pale, Beludran's been carrying her around in a sack for days, and she put this kind of protective spell on there. And so she was kind of trying to piggyback that protective spell and to see if she could kind of impart some of that onto her so that she could somehow survive setting off her warren in proximity to Tool's kind of magic deadening and not kill herself. But she ends up kind of killing herself and killing Beludran and burning everything to a crisp for like miles around in the process. And like you could see this column of fire for miles away, and it burned for like hours. From there we jump to actually Crone, who's like flying over the Rivi plain to link up with Kaladin Brood. He's that warlord, remember, who was fighting up north against the Empire while Animander Rake was taking him on down in the south at Pale. She does some recon and essentially finds out that Kaladin Brood and the Crimson Guard are essentially kicking the Empire's ass all over the north, and they're pulling back. A couple legions of Moranth have been wiped out at this point. That's like crazy because they're supposed to be like the air support. She tells him that Oppen's in the game, and so Kaladin Brood gets that info about Crocus. It also, you get keyed into the fact that she's kind of serving multiple masters. She's not telling Animander Rake everything, and she's not telling Kaladin Brood everything. Kaladin Brood decides that Oppen's tool, Crocus, needs to be protected, and so he's going to get the Crimson Guard to head down to Darujhistan to help protect Crocus. That's one of the confusing parts that I didn't totally get on the first read through, and might make sense as you're reading the rest of these chapters going forward, is that nuance where he's going to go out and get the sixth blade of the Crimson Guard and get Prince Kaz, who's the kind of head of the Crimson Guard, to send these guys out to Darujhistan to protect the coin bearer. I don't think it's because he's down for the Empire. This is like another one of those weird ones where it's like, why help Oppen if Oppen's helping the Empire over, or at least thwart the Shadow? But I think that at the end of the day, for Kaladin Brood at least, that just killing gods and ascendants at this point would raise too much chaos and bring more gods into the fray, and that's not what they're going for. They're just looking to kind of quell the Empire. Then we jump back to the Rivi plain, and not only did kind of Talk and Lorne see this giant fire column kind of ring of fire of death from Tattersail, Ganos and Talk weren't far behind either, and so they kind of arrive on the scene and they find Tattersail's body burnt to a crisp. They find Beludran's body burnt to a crisp, and then they find these like little baby footprints from somebody who's just a skeleton with no skin kind of going off into the plain. Ganos essentially loses it. He is pissed. And from there, he basically just decides that he is going to F everybody up when it comes to Tayshren, the Adjunct, the Empire, etc. And then you kind of wrap up bringing it a little bit back to home with Crone coming back from Kaladin Brood, flying over the Rivi plain. She bumps into some of her like great ravens who are younger than her, and they've been getting taken down, right? So Hairlock's been jumping in and out of the warrens, coming out, shooting chaos at these great ravens. Crone is pissed. And they start tracking Hairlock basically right to the outskirts of Darujhistan. Okay, and so from there, everybody's basically right at the doorstep of Darujhistan. Adjunct Lorne with Tool is right outside. We've got Hairlock creeping up from the south through the warrens, and we've got the bridge burners who have put out on a ship to Darujhistan itself. We also had Crone making contact with Kaladin Brood and Rake making contact with the Tarud Cabal. So things are starting to come together where these kind of two factions, the one that we met early in Pale, and then the folks that we met last episode from Darujhistan, are finally going to start coming together. So we'll pick up with the remainder of the Darujhistan story next week before we get to the Gadrobi Hills, and that's where stuff really starts to go down. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you do, make sure to give it that thumbs up so that the YouTube gods promote it out there to all the potential Malazan readers that we can get in here discussing the books and just enjoying what a great story this is to tell. Don't forget to click subscribe and turn on those notifications so that you never miss a video. And until then, happy reading.